Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Angela Braniff, and today we are going to be talking about the one thing that I changed that finally helped me lose the rest of the baby weight. Before we jump into this video, I want to preface this with number one, weight based on numbers and everything is not the be all end all. So I do not make content about weight loss or anything like this. I'm sharing my story with you guys in case it might be helpful to you. And also, before I even get into any of the details about exactly how I did it and what I did, I want to remind you that if you are someone that struggles with an eating disorder, please consult your doctor before you begin following any kind of diet or lifestyle or eating lifestyle kind of plan. Just because something has worked for me or for someone else doesn't mean it will work for you. And if you have things that you struggle with mentally surrounding food, you really want to make sure that you are doing what's healthiest, not just for your body, but for your mind as well. Also, I want to say before we get into the video that I am not a fitness coach, lifestyle coach. I have nothing here to sell you. This is not a product review or a sponsorship. This is just me sharing my story, my journey. That's it. So if you have been around here for a while, none of this information is new to you. But if you are new, let me give you just a quick synopsis. I am a mom of 8 kiddos. I have kiddos through both birth and adoption. But in 2017, I gave birth to twins, our twin girls, who are obviously now 2.5. And it has been such a struggle for me to lose the weight after having them. So I've kind of shared before that I have really difficult pregnancies. I struggle with something called hyperemesis. And with my twin pregnancy, it was even worse. It was really, really rough. And so I ended up hospitalized and was put on a lot of medications, which caused me to retain a lot of fluid and basically sort of pack on 40 pounds in about 10 days in the hospital. Most of that was fluid, but it was really, really difficult to get rid of that fluid. And then as my pregnancy progressed, I started gaining actual, pregnancy weight and baby weight. And towards the end of my pregnancy, I was very, very swollen. I struggled a lot with swelling through my legs. A couple of things really quickly, because I just want to cover all my bases so there's not a lot of questions. I had done fertility treatments. We had struggled with secondary infertility. So we had done fertility treatments. And through doing those, I had put on about 15 to 20 pounds. And then I gained about 50 to 55 pounds during my actual pregnancy once I actually conceived. So once the twins were born, I knew that I really wanted to lose about 70 pounds. I wanted to get to a place where I felt good before I started the fertility treatments, and all those hormones and everything caused some weight gain. And so yeah, I have done videos before. When I left the hospital after the twins, I think I initially lost 30 pounds. I was feeling fantastic, feeling so good about that. And then the rest of the weight from there, it literally just stopped. It just stopped. And so when the twins were maybe 2 months old, I think somewhere around there, 6 weeks to 2 months old, I ended up deciding to try going gluten-free. That got me to the point where I had about 10 to 15 pounds left to lose. That took probably getting to that place took probably about another 1.5 years, I would say. And then I really just thought, well, maybe I will just never be able to lose this last bit of weight. Maybe it's just always going to hang on here, which is not the end of the world by any means. But for me, I knew I had clothes I wanted to be able to fit back into. And I just knew that my body felt better. It felt good at a different weight. I knew it felt good with just a little less extra fat on me. So I really didn't want to give up, but I wasn't really sure what else to do. So I started hearing about intermittent fasting, and I was like, well, what is this? What is this business, intermittent fasting? I'm just going to starve myself. When you hear the word fasting, I think your brain immediately just goes to I'm going to starve myself. I started doing a little bit of research, and I found that for me, it actually very closely mimicked intuitive eating, which I had tried before and had worked for me for a little while. And intuitive eating for me just basically looked like I ate when I was hungry. I didn't eat when I wasn't hungry. That was kind of it. But it didn't really have a lot of long-term success for me because I would tend to go into phases where I was binge eating. So it wasn't balancing out well for me. So I ended up looking more into intermittent fasting, and I did find a program online that sort of initially piqued my interest, Faster Way to Fat Loss. I knew a few people who had a lot of success with it. So I decided to sign up for that. However, I'm just really bad at following any kind of strict plan. So basically, kind of what you need to know about intermittent fasting is that it is an eating plan, an eating style, eating lifestyle, I don't know, that revolves around periods of fasting not eating and periods of eating. And it's timed, right? So it's not about what you're eating in the windows necessarily or not eating, but the timing of when you're eating. So for me, it actually felt really natural because I don't wake up hungry in the morning 95% of the time. I'm not hungry in the morning. And I think that for years, all of these different diet plans and things I had tried were always like, gotta eat breakfast, most important meal of the day, gotta have your Wheaties. And I was just like, but I don't want Wheaties. I don't want anything. I'm not hungry. And eating when I wasn't hungry felt counterintuitive to me. So when I heard that this was like, hey, you could kind of have this fasting window and I could have my fasting window cover breakfast so that if I didn't want to eat breakfast, I didn't have to. That was part of what really piqued my interest with it. So here's kind of how it went for me. I started doing intermittent fasting. I was told by other people who do it that basically they would have like coffee with like a little bit of cream. They said as long as you didn't go over 35 calories in your fasting window, it wouldn't break your fast. So that's what I did. I would have coffee and I would put my almond milk in it in the morning, and then I wouldn't begin eating until after like lunchtime-ish. And then I would eat, lunch, snack. I would eat quite a bit in my eating window, round it out with dinner, and then not eat again for the rest of the evening, go to bed, wake up, same thing, right? So that it worked. It worked for a little while. It helped with a couple of pounds, but I found that I was just it was just stagnant, right? Like it was really helping me to maintain weight. I hesitate to say this because I don't want anybody to like take it to like too much to heart, but like it almost didn't matter what I ate in that eating window as long as I kept up with the fasting window and the eating window. And for me, it's pretty much always been 16/8. So 16 hours of not eating and 8 hours of eating. And if you think about that, you put the time that you're sleeping in there, it's really only a few hours either side of it that you're not eating when you're awake. And I found that as long as I was keeping that window, then it almost didn't matter what I ate during my feasting period. I could eat pretty much anything, and I didn't gain weight. But I also wasn't really losing any more weight either. And I was kind of becoming really frustrated with it. And I remember my sister and I were talking, and she had been doing some research about it because, like I said, she'd seen that it had been somewhat successful for me. And so she started doing some research into it, and she basically was like, Angie, you got to do clean fasting. And I was like, well, what do you mean clean fasting? So this is the one thing that I did that made all the difference in my weight loss journey. And that was doing the intermittent fasting, but more so than that, doing a clean fasting window. Clean fasting it is kind of one of those things that like some people say you literally can have nothing but water. I still do have coffee, and a lot of people believe that coffee is fine as long as you're not putting anything in it. So in my fasting window, the only thing that I consume is water and black coffee. Nothing, I don't even put a splash of cream, nothing, black coffee. Like I said, I know some people feel like as long as you keep it under 35 calories, you could put a little bit of creamer in there, but that wasn't working for me. And some people believe that just the taste of it, just that sugar hitting your tongue, that taste of sweetness triggers your brain and tells it that basically like you're beginning to eat now, start making insulin. There's a lot of science behind intermittent fasting. I will say that once I started doing the clean fasting, I lost probably 10 pounds or so very quickly, not too quickly, like unhealthy quickly. But I mean, it was working for me where I had become very stagnant. It was like, I was easily losing 1 pound to 2 pounds a week. Now, it should be said that before I went to the clean fasting, I did try sort of cleaning up the food that I was eating in my eating window. And that still didn't just do enough for me. I tried to really make sure that I was eating a lot of healthier foods, very like nutrient dense foods and things like that. But even that didn't make enough of a difference for me. So even doing clean fasting, like I said, I could be a little looser in my eating window about what I was eating, and I was still seeing success. The other thing that I want to point out, because I think it's really important, I have seen more results than just weight loss. So that's really the main reason why I wanted to share this video with you guys today, was not to say like, hey, I lost weight and this is how I did it, you should do this too. But But the reason I feel compelled, I guess, or okay with sharing about intermittent fasting, because like I said, I don't do a lot of like diet and fitness type content because it's just not my area of expertise. I've noticed things other than just weight loss too. I've noticed a change in my sleep, in my energy. Now remember, I've been doing this for a number of months now, and we did add a baby in that time, so sleep has drastically changed. But I noticed that I was sleeping better, that my skin was looking better, healthier. I also noticed a reduction in cellulite, where certain areas, like even as I would lose weight, would still keep that cellulite, right? I mean, women, we store fat in different places in different ways, but I was even noticing that it was having an effect on that as well. Like I said, weight loss is not always the goal, and so there are quite a few benefits to intermittent fasting. I'm gonna leave an article link down below for you guys to check it out, but what that does when you're putting your body into this fasting period, it really helps reduce insulin, which makes it easier for your body to burn stored fat. It can lower blood sugar, blood pressure, and also inflammation, which is again something I really noticed was that it took a lot of the inflammation out of my face, like in my cheeks and under my eyes and stuff, and also inflammation. So here's the funny thing. I still do not weigh what I used to weigh before I got pregnant and before we started fertility treatments, but I wear the same size, in some cases smaller size in certain things, because my body composition is different. I've lost a lot of belly fat. It also has helped me a lot with bloating. I'm somebody, that's a whole nother video. If we want to start talking about my GI tract, that could be a whole nother video in and of itself. And I'm not going to make that video because who needs to listen to that? But I will tell you that it has helped immensely with my digestion, my ability to use the bathroom, if you know what I'm saying, on a regular basis without having to drink teas or take medications or anything like that. It's really helped with that. And like I said, it's really helped a lot with like bloating and inflammation. And that's something I've struggled with for ever and ever, and it drives me crazy. This is all linked in the article below, but intermittent fasting does also activate a healing process in your body. So that really helps your body to digest or recycle old or damaged cells. So there are a lot of benefits to intermittent fasting. I would encourage you to look into it, do some research. Like I said, please, please, please contact your doctor before you begin anything. If you are somebody that has health issues, or if you struggle with eating disordered or disordered eating in any way, like talk to your doctor. Don't just jump in and do this, but it has made such a big difference for me. Like I said, some of the research out there is pretty astounding when it comes to reductions in inflammation, reducing risk of cancer and Alzheimer's. There's a lot of benefits there. So it goes beyond this notion that you're just starving yourself. So for me, doing intermittent fasting and then changing the one simple thing of going to clean fasting has made all the difference for me and the success of this and how I feel. I always say that it's not about numbers, and to me, in my opinion, skinny is a feeling. It's not a number, it's not a size, it's a feeling. It's when your body feels really good where it's at, and you wake up and you don't feel like crazy bloated, you don't feel like a busted can of biscuits, you just feel really good in your skin. To me, that's the feeling of what it feels like when you feel skinny. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what the size is or what the number on the scale is, it's this feeling that you have in your body. And so that is what I feel like I have achieved with this, is not a certain number, not a certain size, where I feel really healthy, like my mind is healthy, my body is healthy, and I just feel really good. All right, so I did ask you guys over on Instagram to leave me any questions that you had about intermittent fasting. I'm actually gonna do a separate video. Then I want to be able to answer your questions that y'all left me on Instagram. I'm gonna go ahead and answer those now, not in this video, but in another video. I don't wanna leave you guys hanging, so I will put up that Q&A either tomorrow or the next day. It'll go up very, very quickly. So if you don't wanna miss that video, then be sure that you're subscribed. That is going to be it for today, and I'm going to move on and do the Q&A, and I will see you guys again in another day or two. Bye. You always find me here when the world thinks that I've disappeared. You know just where to look. You know just where